It's 9 p.m. in Mumbai, or Delhi, or Bangalore. Doesn't matter, it happens in every city in India.
Hi, I'm Rahul. I'm your delivery boy.
He has been riding for almost 12 hours now. His phone's screen is cracked, his shoes are worn at the heel, and he pulls up to one of those glass buildings in Mumbai, the ones where the lobby literally looks like a 5-star hotel, and he walks in with a bag of food. An order worth maybe 2,000 rupees. He is practically delivering an order that costs more than what he makes after working for the whole day. Upstairs, the person receiving the order does not even look at the bill. He just taps his phone and goes back to his Netflix. Have you ever had this weird, heavy feeling in your chest that you're working 10 hours a day, you're hustling, you're doing everything the success books are telling you to do it, but still, the gap between you and the guy that lives in the penthouse is only getting bigger and bigger? I spent 3 weeks going through the data, reports and numbers on this, and what I found genuinely made me uncomfortable. According to the World Bank standards, if a person lives on less than 62 rupees per day, they are in extreme poverty. But for a country like India, many experts say 62 rupees is too low. That's barely a dosa in Mumbai. So economists use a more realistic line of 84 rupees per day. Under the 62 rupees line, only 5% Indians are poor. But under the 84 rupees line, that number jumps to nearly 24%, which is nearly 34 crore people in India. But at the same time, the top 1% of rich Indians hold almost 40% of the entire country's wealth. 1 out of 100 people owns nearly half of everything we have. Imagine you're in a room with 100 people. In the middle of the room, there are 100 chapatis to feed everyone. In a fair world, everyone would get 1 chapati each. But in our current reality, one single person walks up and takes 40 chapatis just for themselves, and that leaves only 60 chapatis to be shared among the other 99 people. When we say the top 1% owns 40% of the wealth, we mean that if you divided all the cash, property and gold in India into 100 parts, a tiny group of 1% people would own 40 of those parts. I want you to understand, for the people at the top to stay rich, the people at the bottom have to stay exactly where they are. I know it sounds harsh, it sounds like some conspiracy theory, but when you look at the numbers, it's just pure maths, and that's exactly what we are going to talk about today. This is Arjun, and he's 32 years old. He works at a mid-sized IT company in Bangalore. He just got promoted last year. He earns about 75,000 rupees a month, which is considered a very good salary in India. And then, almost immediately, 28,000 for the rent, 11,000 for the car EMI, because the startup culture in Bangalore expects you to show up in a certain way. 8,000 EMI for a home loan that is in his native place that he took thinking it was an investment. 7,000 for groceries, 3,500 for the phone bills and 3 OTT subscriptions that he forgot to cancel. By the 10th of every month, Arjun has maybe around 17,000 rupees left. He puts 10,000 rupees into a recurring deposit because his father told him to do that. So a 32-year-old man has only 7,000 rupees left to manage for the rest of the month in Bangalore. Now, Arjun's father was a school teacher. He earned maybe around 15,000 rupees a month when he was at Arjun's age, that is 32. But by the time he owned a small house, he had gold, he had zero debt, but Arjun earns almost 6 times what his father was earning. But he has nothing to show for it except some credit card bills. Now you might be thinking, okay, the cost of living is kind of higher now and cities have become more expensive. But that's not the whole story here. Over the last 10 years in India, the cost of basic house and good healthcare has shot up by nearly 15 to 20% annually in some cities, but average salaries are growing at barely 8 to 10%. No matter how fast we run, the treadmill is moving faster than we can ever run. Think about it. If everyone becomes a millionaire tomorrow, who's going to deliver your lunch? Who's going to drive the Uber? The system needs Rahul to keep doing deliveries 12 hours a day, just getting paid 40 rupees per order. It needs his hunger. His need for a salary is rich people's guarantee of labor. Most of us are running on a treadmill, and every year the speed increases. Rent goes up, EMI goes up, school fees goes up, healthcare goes up, and our salary, that is also going up. but just enough to keep us running, never enough to actually get off from the running. This is called lifestyle inflation, and it's a trap that catches almost every salaried person in India. You get a rise and you move to a slightly better apartment, you upgrade your phone and you start going to a slightly nicer restaurant, you add one more EMI, and 6 months later you are back to exactly where you were, just at a higher number. What no one is telling us is that working harder inside a broken system just makes you better at being stuck. See, at the same time, the rich don't want you to be broke. They don't want you to be poor. If you're completely broke, you cannot buy their products. They want you to be a high-earning consumer. They want you to have just enough money to afford the EMI on a phone, but not enough money to stop working for them. So the people at the top, the rich people, only need two things from you. They need you to buy their products. They need you to show up for work. That's it. Only those two things. But if you see the rich people, the actual rich people, they don't work for the money. They make the money work for them. While we are taught to save our pennies, every single penny you get, you just save it. But they are taught to own the world. But here's the part no one tells you. Why did nobody ever teach us how to do the second part? Why is how to build an asset not a subject in school, but how to be a good employee is the entire curriculum? Let me break this down simply. Imagine two things, a bucket and a pipe. Most of us, like Rahul, are the bucket carriers. Your salary is your bucket. You go to the well, that is your job. You fill the bucket, you bring it home. If you stop walking, the water stops coming. Your time is very limited. You only have 24 hours a day. Therefore, your bucket has a limit. But the rich people build pipes. A pipe is an asset. It could be your business, land, or even stocks. Once the pipe is built, the water flows even when you're sleeping. The middle class are stuck in the same place because we keep trying to buy bigger buckets, a bigger car and a bigger house. But all these things require more walking to the well. And there's something else called access barrier. For years, if an Indian wanted to build a global pipe to own a piece of the world's biggest companies, it was almost impossible. You needed thousands of dollars, massive paperwork, and a big broker. The rich were buying Google, Apple, and Amazon while we were being told to put our money in a 6% fixed deposit. Let's say there are two characters, Samir and Aditi. If we go back to 2016, Samir buys a premium phone. It's a great piece of technology, no doubt. But today that phone is basically worth for nothing. But on the other hand, Aditi used the phone, but she also decided to own a tiny piece of the company that made the phone. She invested in the US stock market. A standard Indian FD gives you maybe 6 to 7%, but after 30% tax and 6% inflation, you actually made zero. But the US markets were growing at a massive rate, plus there's a secret bonus, the dollar. In 2016, $1 was worth around 66 rupees, but today it's over 94 rupees. Aditi did not just win because the company grew bigger, she won because the currency she invested in became much more stronger. Samir spent money on a product, but Aditi made the product work for her. We are literally a nation of 1.4 billion consumers. We use WhatsApp, Netflix, we search on Google. We are giving these companies our money every single day. But ask yourself, why are we only the customers? Why aren't we the owners? See, you're not failing because you're a lazy person. You're failing because you're playing a game where the rules were written by the people you are playing against. You are the one who keeps the system running. Your hard work, your EMI, your consumption, it's all fuel for someone else's engine. You are playing your game on hard mode because you're only relying on your salary, on your local savings. But there is a way where your story can change. Technology has done something really amazing. It has changed the entry fee for people. You don't need $1 million to start building your pipe. You can start with the price of a couple of those 400 rupees that you spend on coffee. The gatekeepers are losing their power because for the first time in history, an average Indian has the same tools as a billionaire. If you're going to spend your money on Netflix and Google anyway, why not take a piece of their profit back? Which is literally what we call making the money work for you. Take a look at I&D Money. It's basically the equalizer I was talking about. You don't need any complicated bank visits or heavy paperwork for this. It's as simple as using a UPI app. But instead of just sending money away, you are bringing ownership in. You can invest your money in US stocks directly from India. And why is such a big deal? Because it breaks the access barrier. You can buy fractional shares, which means if one share of a giant tech company is too expensive, you can just buy 100 rupees, 500 rupees and 1000 rupees worth of it. And we Indians literally have the dollar advantage. When you invest your money in the US market through IND Money, you're basically saving money in dollars. If the rupee dips, which has been every year if you look at the historical data properly, your investment value gets an automatic cushion. The rich have been doing this for decades and decades to protect their own wealth. Now, you can also do it from your phone while sitting in Mumbai or a village in Bihar. I'm not telling you to quit your job tomorrow. We need our salaries to live. But the goal is to make sure your salary is not your only source of life. Number 1, audit your life. Ask yourself this question: are you only a consumer? For every 10 rupees you spend on a brand, try to own 1 rupee of it. With fractional investing on IND Money, you do not need enough money to buy one full US stock. For example, if a stock is trading at $200, you do not need to put in the full amount. You can start with a smaller amount and still own a fraction of that particular company. So instead of just paying Apple, Nike and Amazon, as a customer, you can slowly start owning a part of them too. Number 2, start small because ownership is a habit, not a destination. Just one share and one fraction and it changes your mindset completely from a worker to an owner. With weekly and monthly SIP starting from just 500 rupees, you can make US stock investing automation on IND Money without waiting for any big salary or bonus. For example, instead of thinking you need 50,000 rupees to begin, you can start with 500 rupees monthly SIP into a stock or even ETF. Number 3, and the most important, think global. Do not put all your eggs in one local basket. The world is huge. Use it. With global ETFs and IND Money, you can invest in entire markets, not just in individual stocks. For example, if you want exposure beyond the US, you can look at the Taiwan ETFs for companies linked to semiconductors and electronics manufacturing. South Korea ETFs for the exposure to major consumer technology and industrial businesses, or the UAE ETFs to participate in a market linked to banking, infrastructure and regional growth. So, instead of relying only on India, you can spread your investments across different economies and opportunities. See, the system is big and of course it's great, but you are now smart enough to use the system's own rules to get out of the trap. And let me tell you, the system does not need you to be poor. It just needs you to be quiet. It needs you to keep working and never ask how the pipes are built. Just going for a bigger bucket is not gonna solve your problem. Start building the goddamn pipe. Download the IND Money app, go to the US stocks and complete your KYC using PAN, Aadhaar and other basic details. The process is very quick and account opening is completely free. And inside the US stock section, you can search for any company or ETF like Apple, Microsoft and Tesla. You can check the price, charts and fundamentals and also explore the trending stocks and ETF ideas. One of the biggest advantage here is fractional investing. For example, if Apple is trading around $200, you do not need full amount to invest. On IND Money, you can start with as little as 100 rupees and buy a fraction of the stock. Just select the stock, tap buy and enter the amount and place the order. If you place it during the Indian market hours, it gets queued and executes when the US market opens. And selling also works the same way. Go to your portfolio, choose the stock, enter the amount or the number of shares and sell. If you want to withdraw the money back to India, it comes through the reverse LRS process. See, account opening is free, no platform fee on any deposit, zero AMC, SIPs in US stocks and ETFs are completely free to set up. See, and the most practical feature is the tax reporting. At the end of the year, IND Money gives you tax reports like the Schedule FA and the Schedule FSI and capital gain reports, so you can directly share them with your CA without doing any manual tracking or use them for your ITR filing. And trust me, this is the most coolest feature because I struggle with it almost every other month.